Shall I begin? I'm going to. So, hi everybody, my name is Angelo Porcello. I'm the CEO and owner of Directio. We're an IT services company based in Warsaw. I'll slow down the speed of my language. Yes, I'm a native speaker. Yes, okay. Anyway, I've been asked to host this event or MC it like this, and I'd like to introduce our first speaker. That's Sofia Valentin, board member, Swedish-Polish Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. I'm actually not a speaker. I'm just here to welcome you. Normally, this is the job of our chairman, Nisse Bonnier, who unfortunately couldn't be part of this event today. There are some very prominent guests in the room. All of you are, of course, very prominent guests, but there are a few ones that I will welcome extraordinary much. Well, anyway, I would like to welcome Serkan Köse, who's still in the room, right? The Swedish Parliament member, as a special guest here today. I don't know about you, but during the majority of my professional life, I've been making plans. I've been doing business plans, budgets, investment plans, recruitment plans, product development plans, and I've been doing plans and plans and plans for most of my professional career. And these plans were often made for 3 or even 5 years terms. And surprisingly, they were often quite accurate. Whatever we planned for was actually what was happening. Then a few years ago, things started being completely different. We had a war here in Europe. We had a pandemic. We had high inflation in Sweden. We had very high energy costs. And now, if someone were to ask me to make a plan, I would probably not be able to make a plan even for next week. Because these are extremely turbulent times. And there are so many things going on in our environment around us, both on a macro and a micro level. And the great benefit of being a member of a chamber like ours is the history. We have almost 100 years of history. And what history has taught us is that while some of us perceive this environment that we're living in right now quite terrifying, quite turbulent, and we can't make any plans, we don't know where to go, there are other braver people, such as you here, that actually see opportunities, who sees possibilities in the markets that are changing. And for us as a chamber, it's extremely important to be able to encourage and help you who are now going to help us change the future. So from the Swedish-Polish Chamber of Commerce, we would very much like to welcome you all. Thank you all for participating, and I hope you have a wonderful day in this exciting topic.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, I'd like to welcome to the stage Mats Lindgren from Kairos Future.
So, I'd like to talk about, I put the name of the title of what I'm telling. The future isn't what it used to be. And the reason for that is that the future isn't what it used to be, period. Just a few words about me. 30 years ago, I started Kairos Future. The intention was to build a company that could assist corporations, governments, and other organizations to figure out what's happening next and what to do about it. And that's basically what we frame it as foresight-driven strategy and innovation. So that's basically what we do. We work with governments and international organizations, mainly in Europe, but also in other continents, as you can see from the slide. Regarding the Swedish-Polish alliance, so to speak, I'm also running a small startup together with a Polish guy, have been doing that for many years. But that's besides what I'm going to talk about today. So what is so new and so different from what we're used to? Well, I'm not thinking so much about the Tangping idea. Have you heard about it? The young Chinese that are laying flat. They don't want to do anything at all. We call it quiet quitting in US and Europe, but it's almost the same. I'm not thinking so much about the soft girls, which are quite similar, that want to live off their richer husbands. Or the reason, actually the big challenge we have ahead, at least for many nations in the West, the decline in birth rates. In South Korea, it's 0.71 now, and that's very, very low. There will not be so many South Koreans living in 2021. I'm not even thinking about the cybercrime that actually eats up more than 10% of the global GDP every year. Think of that, 10% of the global GDP. That's the cost of cybercrime. And I'm not thinking about the fact that it's only 4 nations in the world that are directly or indirectly behind all those cybercrimes. That's part of what I'm thinking about, but not only that. And I'm not even thinking about the fact that we are approaching new times. Just look at Groucho Marx, 1947, and the younger generation of today. Quite similar. But that's not my main thought. My main thought is that what we're seeing now is that we are living in war times. And it's not only military wars, it's war times in many, many aspects. And just as during the Second World War and the 20, 30 years following that, that will define everything we do, plan, almost everything for the coming 10, 20 years. That's my strong belief. No matter what happens in the short time, this will be the paradigm for decades now. And the second thing I'm thinking about, that's also what we heard in the introduction here, is that we're moving from a linear world to an exponential world. It's where we need to rethink how we work with innovation, foresight, planning, everything we do. Starting with the wartime perspective. And it's not only military war, of course, it's also a lot of hybrid warfare. It's a lot about the tariffs and the sort of the trade wars that's disrupting the world order right now. It's also tech war, which has been extremely sort of obvious now when we think about all the big tech firms from the US that's handling all our data in the rest of the world, or at least rest of the Western world. Will Trump just turn it off? What happens then? And we have the war within countries, but also between countries, between the autocratic forces and the democratic forces, which Applebaum eloquently defined in her latest books. If you haven't read it yet, please buy it and read it. It's worth reading. So if we have this sort of long-term perspective, maybe we've been here before. We've had a period like 80 years ago. We went through a period of 80 years ago with increasing sort of conflicts between sort of left and right, between different countries, increased, so to speak, sort of war level. And that ended with this World War II. But after that, we defined the new world order, the world order that Trump now is trying to destroy, the world as we know it, with WTO, with the dollar as the global currency, with all those international organizations that tries to manage the world in a sort of a managed way. And during that first 20 years, we had a long-term perspective. Government and business worked side by side. They worked together. Governments were willing to invest in also long-term projects, supporting their sort of local businesses. And following that, we ended up in a small crisis during the 70s with stagflation, quite similar to what we've seen over the past years, low growth and high inflation. But we sort of managed to get out of that by applying a new kind of world order, which was much more market-oriented. If we had sort of a semi-planned Western world during the first 20 years after World War II, we went into a very strong market-oriented world, opening up markets globally, releasing sort of the finance sector, making it possible actually for a free float across the world with currencies and so on. And then around 2001 or 2005 or whatever, however we define it, is it 9/11 or the financial crisis 2007 or 8 that sort of put an end to this period, and it's been a bumpy road since then. But if Mark Twain is right. The sort of history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. We will end up in a new, long, wonderful spring as soon as we sort out the new world order. That's more if or but or when. On the exponential side, of course, everyone starts to think about generative AI. And if you go back to November 30th, 2022, when sort of the first version of ChatGPT was released, it's so much better today. It's tremendously much better. And it's even so good that AI received 2 Nobel Prizes just last year in physics and chemistry. And one of the prizes went to AlphaFold, which is now part of the Google family or Alphabet family. And before AlphaFold, which can sort of fold protein, identify protein structures, it took 4 years to reveal the structure of one single protein. And after AlphaFold was released, in just 1 year, 200 million proteins were detected. Which means that we don't talk about like a few percent productivity growth here. We talk about 800 million times productivity growth. And this will go on for sort of, so at least science field after science field after science field with the assistance of AI. Long term, we don't really know where this takes us. Will there be an AGI, a general intelligence that's smarter than any human being in all fields possible? Will that turn into a super intelligence that can replicate itself and become 1,000 times as smart as we? We don't know. But it's moving fast, and it will dramatically change the way we do business, not in 10 years, but in today and next week and maybe next month. And there are more disruptions to come. We've always said that fusion energy, that's 50 years ahead. It's not 50 years ahead anymore. It's much, much, much closer. Like the small modular reactors, the fission reactors that we've been talking about for 10, 15, 20 years, they are here now. They've been, of course, applied in submarines and so on for decades, but they are coming now. And even quantum computing, that will redefine the way we use cryptology and so on, are also on the way. So for all of us sitting in this room and listening to this speech, we really need to figure out what will come next. What will that mean to us? How can we benefit from it? How can we try to handle the unexpected and unwanted effects and consequences for our business? And the single most sort of best answer to that is to apply much more foresight. When times are turbulent and moving fast, you need to be extremely focused on the present to do everything right now, but you also need to have some kind of vision or idea where the world is heading and thus where you should go with the company. Sort of mid-term planning, that's of new use because you need to replan again. Planning as an activity is important, but plans are useless. Short-term, mid-term plans, 2-3 years plans are quite often useless. But a long-term vision, a long-term idea of where you want to go, that's more important than ever. And research also says that sort of provides a lot of evidence that's true also. This guy, René Rohrbeck, a researcher, German researcher active in Denmark, I think mostly, a few years ago he released a piece of research where they followed up 84 multinational companies after 7 years. And they looked into how much foresight they were active in and how they used it in innovation and strategy work, and found that the ones that do that better than the most, they perform significantly better. After 7 years, they had 200% higher market cap growth than the average company. But only 1 in 5 did. That's good news. If you can do that, and most of the pack don't do it, you'll get a huge advantage. The second good part of this is that it's possible actually to use AI in these kinds of activities. This is a trend radar that we have sort of sold to one of our customers. It's about automotive. It's mining hundreds of thousands of news articles, identify key elements, key topics in those articles, summarizing it, and summarizing the summaries in sort of clusters, like the cybersecurity summary here, delivering references. And this can be automated, updated constantly, turned into newsletters, reports, So we can use the AI actually to also to map out even scenarios. 25 years ago, I wrote my PhD thesis, and the topic was about strategy-related performance drivers in turbulent business environments. And turbulent didn't mean the kind of turbulence we have right now. But when I went through the data and tried to sort of conceptualize what this means, I found that there is a really good metaphor for what successful companies do in turbulent times. They behave like children. And what do children do? They ask why? They drive their parents crazy with all those whys, at least healthy children. And why do they do that? Because there is so much newness. The only way to figure out how the world works when you don't know how it works is to ask the whys. And it's a similar situation for all of us now. There is so much newness in the world. So ask the question why. Be curious. That's the number one. Successful organizations are curious, learning organizations. The second part is that they are learning through doing also. They play around like kids do. They try out things, even mom and dad says, no, don't do that. They do it anyway. And today they are allowed to do it too little. That's what we talk about a lot in general. But that's also what organizations do. They experiment low-cost experimentation all the time to figure out what works and what doesn't work, because we can't know what works when we're working in new fields. And the third thing is with the healthy kids is that they have parents that sort of encourage and garden the situation. They build the sort of they define, they organize things, if you move it to companies, in a way that makes it possible to both experiment and to think a lot. But at the end of the day, how much different will the future be from today? Well, it's hard to say, but if we look back, maybe not so much. Thank you very much. See you on the barricades, as I would have said if I was here in the 1970s, but now it's not the 70s. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. That was great. Okay, so next up we have Andres Burgoa. I hope I'm saying that right, from Ericsson. Yes? Okay, welcome.
Thanks for the invite to be here. I'm here to provide some insights on what we're doing in Ericsson, but broader than that, just the telecommunication industry and some of the innovation work to boost digitalization. So I'll do my best to give you some examples of what we're doing here. I'm Andres Burgoa, as I said, and I'm part of the Ericsson team that sits here in Stockholm, but we're responsible for the operations in the Nordics, Baltics, and Central Europe, including Poland, which is one of the reasons I'm here. Good, but does anybody recognize any of these pictures? Yes, I see some hands, not too many hands. Okay, more hands coming up. Well, Ericsson, we're proud to say we are an innovator. We have been for a long time. We turn around 150 years very soon, actually. So we've been an integral part of technology in the history, especially, of course, communications. We did an attempt of our iPad some time ago. This was launched 2000. As you can see, it didn't go great, but we did take a stab at it. We are either founders or co-founders, developers of Bluetooth, which you all use today, hopefully. We have some deep embedded roots in the open source arena with Erlang, and perhaps some of you even recognize that language, deeply embedded in the communications technology all over the world. And even WhatsApp, I believe, uses still Erlang to this day. So we are very proud of this heritage and what we've contributed to the industry. And I won't go step by step on the different Gs, but of course we're a big G company, 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. I'm sure all of you here have sensed the difference, at least at your pace, of what we've contributed here. Maybe the biggest steps for you guys, everybody has felt that the 3G to 4G, all of a sudden you can download hundreds of apps on your phone and consume a bunch of data, watch all the YouTube and all the Netflix and Instagram that you can possibly do, and we're part of making that happen together with our customers, the service providers. So we're a technology vendor towards the service providers, the Telias, Telenors, Polkomtels of the world. And I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but in the 5G step, here we're enabling new things, not just for you guys to watch more data or higher resolution data, but actually the industries to leverage the power of 5G at a broader scale, and we'll give some examples of what that means. I won't go into 6G just yet. I'll say that for a couple of years ahead. Maybe you can invite me back and I can share some insights, but we're not just there yet. Also, I want to just do a little bit of bragging rights. Our relationship of Ericsson and Poland is quite strong. Poland hosts the second largest production for Ericsson in terms of Europe, the largest production in Europe and the second largest R&D center in Europe. And we're very proud of this. Poland powers a lot of the communications that all of Europe has today. So if you're using your phone right now, it was likely produced by some type of equipment from Ericsson produced in Poland today. So and my colleague Martin Meller, who I believe will come here for a later speech, might touch even further on that relationship that we have. Good, but we are very proud of the history and the heritage, as I said. But ultimately, this is what you guys consume, right? And many more other apps. And if you look at the market cap of any single one of these, I mean, you go into the trillions once you get into the Apple, right? And if you look at the market cap of Ericsson or our peers, we're a bit. And customers were a bit short by a couple of zeros in some cases, right? So there's been a bit of an imbalance, perhaps, of the value of how our contribution of the telco infrastructure towards the broader value that everybody has got out of these applications. Just as an example, if AirPods would be, hypothetically speaking, their own company, it would be around a $20 billion annual revenue company, which is not it, just hypothetically speaking. That's around the same annual revenue that Ericsson makes globally, right? So there's been a lot of benefit, of course, in applications that has happened on top of the mobile infrastructure, but there's a bit of an imbalance here. Return on capital investment is another metric. The return on capital for a hyperscaler is around, like a Microsoft or a Google, it's around 20+%. For every dollar that they invest, they get 25 cents back. For Ericsson, for our customers, the Telia, the Telenors of the world, etc., it's around 6%, right? So there is some imbalance and perhaps healthier dynamics that we can have. And part of it, there's many reasons behind it, and I won't go through all the reasons. This is what you see on your phone, right? And one day you woke up and you saw 5G, and maybe one day you woke up and you say 6G, and what does this really mean for you guys? Maybe it means more data to consume, but for the broader consumer market, it's been something that is just expected. It just happens, right? And the G will come. But as I mentioned earlier, the real power of 5G and the technology we work on will be towards the industries and the application developers as well, that I'll touch a bit earlier. And I want to share with you a short video of one of the engagements we have, which Telia, which is one of the local operators here in Sweden, and they also operate in Nordics and Baltics, to help unlock the potential that 5G has towards industries and boosting digitalization. So I'll run a short video. Hopefully it works well.
Electrification and digitalization is transforming the transport and automotive industry at the core. For a more safe and sustainable transport system, both road infrastructure and vehicles need to be connected. To guide innovative companies into the next generation of mobile communications, Telia and Ericsson started Project North Star. At Asta Zero Proving Ground in Sweden, we built a 5G network that runs in parallel to the public mobile network. This enables companies to test their connected innovations within a safe and controlled environment. We run remote-controlled tests for vehicles in real time, connected through the North Star network. As the first proving ground in the world with this infrastructure installed, we also run network slicing with prioritized services to stress test clients' features when network is heavily loaded. This revolutionizes the way 5G can be managed to give extra security to specific services. The transportation sector is evolving, and new delivery methods will require safe and secure 5G connections. New technologies can be developed and tested faster to be ready earlier with North Star.
This is one of the engagements that we have with Telia as our partner, again, to give the power of 5G to the industries. And we're working with many other customers in similar engagements, but just to give you a little bit more flavor on this North Star program that we have a select set of partners in the forestry, healthcare, transport, energy that are not yet benefiting fully from advanced connectivity. And it's not the same way you perceive it as a consumer, where you care more about bandwidth and latency. It's more about security, control, predictability, and these are the things that really matter in an industrial connectivity sense. So again, we have a short set of partners. We give them the latest 5G kind of capabilities, and I won't go deeper into that. At least now you can catch me later a bit about what those capabilities are. But again, they're more about security and control as opposed to bandwidth and latency. The beauty of this is that you put the 5G brain in the industrial sector in their own context. So you give it to them, and they innovate on top of it, and they can leverage remote forestry for safety concerns, right? So you don't need to be at the edge or in the outskirts of the forest for that. You saw the video around transport, for example. There's a lot of benefits in the transport sector around having a predictability and security in autonomous vehicles. The work we do in the healthcare sector is quite important. Beds, hospital beds, tracking hospital beds is apparently a very big pain point for hospitals, and having a 5G kind of embedded sensor in that and being able to track it across hospitals in a predictable and secure way is actually one of the key use cases that we're working with our partners. And this is all great, but this hasn't scaled just yet. Right, we're testing a lot of things. Other countries are a bit more advanced in this area than Europe or Sweden, and the question arises: why haven't we seen even more innovation? Right, you saw the applications and the apps that you download. You saw some attempts of what we're doing with the industry sector, but why haven't we seen even more innovation in the telco sector? I think I would expect it at least. I was born in 1982, and when I got my first cell phone in 1995 in Bolivia, I was so impressed. I was so impressed. I can't believe what I was holding, and I just wanted to pursue that further. But it felt like at some point it just kind of flattened out, right? And it was others innovating on top. So there's a couple of theses of why we haven't seen more innovation. One of it is that it's complex. Telco is a bit complex, right? And if you open that hood, you realize the complexity of it. And I'm in that hood. I'm inside the engine. Does anybody here remember Google Stadia? Okay, one. Yes, and that's the point, right? Nobody remembers Google Stadia anymore. And we can talk later about why I think it failed or what I investigated. And there's a lot of thesis around the marketing they did and the gaming that they did. What basically Google Stadia wanted to do is a cloud-based gaming company. So the game is in the cloud, and you access it through your phone or through your end device, as opposed to the game being in the device itself, if you know what I mean. For that to happen, there's a lot of complexity, both commercially and technically behind the scenes that needed to appear. Google launched this in 22 countries. You have 3 or 4 telecom operators in each country. Imagine the complexity to give that end gamer the best latency and bandwidth for a game to happen at scale, right? There was, I don't know if you're familiar with the term API, which I'll talk about it more in a minute. There needed to be a deeper integration between the game itself and the connectivity providers for it to be a great experience at the end. And this is very complex. So one of the ways that we want to boost the digitalization, back to the title of the presentation, is to give the power of 5G not just to industries or not just to you as consumers, but to the application development community. There's a lot of developers and applications like the ones I even showed in one of my earlier slides that are not really using the power of 5G or of wireless infrastructure. And that's going to be one of our next big frontiers, to have this new network APIs, as we call it, the telco data, to be exposed in an easy fashion, less complex way to the application developers. And this is happening already, and this is not necessarily new. But this is going to be accelerating now in the next couple of years with several initiatives. I'll just give a couple examples. Cabify is a competitor of a ride-sharing company against Uber in Spain and Latin America and other countries. They're using the power of the network, the Telefonicas of the world there in Spain, to just quickly authenticate a person that wants to register for the service for the first time. And you just say, yes, it's me. You push a button, and it already knows who you are, and you don't need to put your username, password, and SMS, and all this stuff. That's one of the simplest examples. Fraud, bank fraud is huge in Brazil and many other areas in the globe. The telecom networks provide a bunch of information to prevent fraud that we're not leveraging today at scale. In China, they're using the location data to be able to provide taxi services to the elder that are not necessarily digital acute, and they will leverage the location of the person to get the taxi to the right place. This is just 3 examples that we're doing, and this is going to scale. So what are we doing in the industry now? And this is not just Ericsson. We've finally got together and we said this is a big problem, and there's a big pool of users of the network that are not being catered today. And this is the new initiatives by a bunch of acronyms that I won't bore you too much when are being held together with the operators. So this is a vendors and operators getting together. One of these joint ventures is called Aduna, which I'm happy to share more about later in the social part. This is a new venture meant to make it much easier for all this application development industry, again, to tap into the power of the wireless communications. So hopefully, I've been able to give you some insight into what Ericsson has done as an innovation, some of the work that we're doing with the industries, which will happen, it just needs to scale, and more importantly, hopefully make it less complex for the new application developments to use the power of the networks. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Next, I'd like to welcome up Peter Karpinski and Piotr Stepinski.
Thank you. So we are members of Swedish-Polish Chamber of Commerce. We are both Polish, born in Poland. We came the same year to Nynäshamn, so thank you Nynäshamn, 1984, as Swedish word båtflyktingar, refugees by boat. Piotr, tell me some background about you.
Yes, I'm working with Peter for Lyfta Skrot. And as Peter mentioned, we both have Polish connections and Swedish connections. So I came in '84 when I was 2 years old to Sweden. But then about 15 years ago, I moved back to Poland, and I'm now based in Poland. And together we want to present you to a little case study about AI and the current trends in AI and how they can help in running an organization. So just a short intro to the current trends in AI and productivity. Obviously, unless you've been living under a rock for the last 2-3 years, you know this is the hottest buzzword right now. 4 trends that we've identified here, things that increase productivity and can help organizations and individuals work better. So AI agents or AI assistants, you probably heard about this one. They can be used to replace boring routine tasks such as taking notes during meetings and sorting emails and things like that. Also AI augmented decision making, so tracking and analyzing lots and lots of external and internal data in order to be able to make better decisions and better forecasts to make better decisions. Obviously, ChatGPT, you probably generated a lot of pictures lately using the new version. This is an example of human AI collaboration where you can actually improve different areas of productivity in marketing, software development, etc. And then we have something exciting that is appearing, and that is actually moving out of the technological sphere and to kind of use AI to enhance typical human traits such as empathy and building culture in organizations.
Yeah, so in order to understand the future or the present, you have to understand the history. So we have some history buffs here, which I know personally. Our history as a company is actually 15 years ago. So in late 2009, I had my last employer as a employer. Yeah, as I used to say, I worked for Microsoft. I saw the last real IT disruption, which was the early cloud coming up. So we were a couple of Microsoft seniors consultants who started our own companies. Mine was named Lyfta Skrot, which is the Swedish name for pumping iron, a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie for you who lived in the 80s and 90s. We saw the trend, we saw also which disruptions it would result in. Small companies with 1, 2, 3 employees would be able to work with large enterprises. Before the infrastructure, the servers, the employees were very important. We saw the trend coming where a couple of smart guys and girls who knew technology would be able to work with great large customers. So we wouldn't have to work for Logica in Sweden or Microsoft, any of those large companies. We also saw the UI or end user perspective being changed by the cloud. So basically you had to write UI user interfaces in the applications based on how the cloud demanded that you work them. We also saw an organizational perspective of the changes by cloud. I'll go back to them at the last slide. So I started my own company. 2 of my friends did the same. We are still working together in parallel. The dream was not to have any employee, to be self-employed and code until we died, everybody, but some of us were forced to have employees. So here's 2 of our customers. This is also examples. This is both for Swedish companies. Skanska is the one which is more known in Poland than JM Entreprenad, or JM actually, the main company. So how could a one-man company build a system which was used by these large enterprise companies which are global, thanks to the disruption of cloud? Also, one of these forced this small company to employ people. It's Skanska. They had as a policy, and that's a good policy, not to work with small companies. Both of them had different needs in their minds of 2 different systems. One of them is very much about the end user perspective, their own company branding and so forth. The other one is more about having the same processes, a simplified end user interface. So they actually saw 2 different systems, needs for 2 different systems, but it was the same system for them. It's a document-centric quality management system. So us being small, work with quite stiff and boring legacy systems. I'll have Piotr introduce the legacy part of these systems.
So there was a little theory and a little bit of history, who, why, and when, etc. But now I'd actually like to present a case study of how we used AI to boost our productivity. And as a software company, the biggest chunk of our business is actually building software, so software development. And many companies actually focus on developing new features, on scaling their applications, on growing their company, on adding new things. And a problem in this industry is so-called legacy code, which essentially means that there is a lot of old code in the system that companies don't focus on updating. And as the code gets older, as the system gets older, it actually becomes more problematic and is even more difficult to to adjust, to migrate. So what you usually do is that you take the old code, you migrate it into new code, you basically rewrite it into the new technology. And this is boring, difficult, and time-consuming for developers. So our problem was that we wanted to remake 7-year-old code, which were basically written in a very unmodern framework in today's standards. And according to our own estimations, this process would take us 1.5 years for 2 developers to complete, including also, on top of that, project management and the planning and execution of the executives. So we actually found a service which was created by a Sokół Spain group, which is also a member of Swedish-Polish Chamber of Commerce. They have a service called AI Project Assistant. And essentially what it does is that it uses AI to make this code migration faster. So the AI system and developers based in Spain actually analyze the legacy code. They have a huge database of legacy code, and they are then able to, via AI, migrate this code into any new technology very quickly. And I mentioned 1.5 years here. This job was actually finished within 10 weeks, so quite a significant difference. And obviously the benefits here for us, for the management, was that we can focus on the core tasks like growing the business and also go to market faster and update our application faster.
Yeah, and also there's several other benefits. Developers don't want to work with old frameworks. It stops innovation. It's also wrong out of the perspective of misusing resources. So as current companies do, they have the old code, it lives, and then in parallel they create the new code, the same code, rewriting it. This is possible with open tools right now. The thing, as Sokół Spain is doing better, they have lots of experience, they have their own code, they have open source frameworks for different type of languages. So anybody who has some type of large code mass you would like to rewrite, because you know it's waste of money not to reuse that code, but you see that you can't keep your employees happy or you can't find consultants, contact us. We have great experience. We have a use case based on our own experience. Also quickly, AI in an organization, this is quite out of our perspective. What I would like to say as a current disruption that we see, which is right now also the war times, like the warmongers who are right now saying we will have a war. There are lots of people trying to prevent war. Everybody can do something. We are doing lots right now. The disruption currently, I see, AI, is how you organize a company, especially a startup. Joining Swedish-Polish Chamber of Commerce, the idea was to start a Polish subsidiary. We have still not done it because of AI. So AI opens up, I don't remember who, it was perhaps Mats. He had the number 100 times more efficient. And that's true, that's the same for organizations. So basically an organization with 1,000 employees will right now and in the future be 10 employees. So it's the C-suite people startups should employ. People like us in this room, broad experience from different sectors or branches, industries, having experienced 2, 3, 4 different C-level positions and having a passion for 2 of those. One thing which is lacking is EU regulations. There is no small business company form valid for every European or EU country with one flat tax. So perhaps politicians will do some changes for us to be able to have a 10-man company generating very large amounts of taxes to the countries or to EU. So that's the disruption which we currently see when building our startup right now in Poland. So basically going in another way, and that's DevTech industry. So we are both working in the traditional IT and in DevTech right now. So that's like an abbreviation of this slide, because what's needed is us humans having discussions instead of us telling you about all the different numbers and how you should do your company. So there's one error. Actually, there's no time here. So will AI be able to excel over humans in innovation? Yes, eventually. So let's say within 10 years. And can AI replace typical human traits such as intuition and creativity or even innovation? So any thoughts from you here or online?
Oh, that's a really good question. And I think so, actually. I think so, although we are not there yet, but...
Yeah, hand raise. Who thinks actually AI will excel over us? Hand up. Yeah, I would say 35%. The hand raise was 35% of the room actually think AI will excel over humans, so 70-30 rule, perhaps. It's a difficult question, and one of the questions you should ask if you say yes is what will we humans do with the time we save by having tools or system work for us within innovation? So that question you perhaps should take with you home and be back on the next meeting we have.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sean. I have a company called Mundus International. We work with providing and use AI quite a lot for end customers who have a very high need for quality of information. So facts have to be right. Yeah, and the repeated comment that we get all over the place, and so together with some personal experience, I don't think it's up for doubt that AI is already augmenting what we can do today. And if you doubt that, just go into ChatGPT or any of the other systems and say, give me 10 different ideas for a talk on innovation at the Polish-Swedish Chamber of Commerce, and you'll get 9 ideas that you haven't thought of. So without a doubt, it's already working today. But what it's not good at, and 100% of people, of correspondents that I have conversations with, says you just can't rely on it. So brilliant for brainstorming, crap at validation. And if you approach it with that perspective of give me 99 good, 100 good ideas, I'll throw out 99, but one will be great, then you'll have a lot of success with AI. Personal view.
You're 100% correct. That's why we use senior C-level people and only employ them because they can validate. They know in their stomach or even like in their logical left brain if it's 100% incorrect, 90% or 80, and then you just set a threshold. If the threshold is over 70%, then you have to double check. So yes, I agree.
Just on that, I think humans can do the sanity check as well of the results. But my question was rather, let's say 20, 30 years ago, there was a lot of talk about data mining was a concept, and there were companies like SAS Institute and so on. Where do they fit in here as a part of the AI today, or?
Yes, large data masses like the big tech, which was mentioned, that actually have all of our data fit in. So that's how United States has been able to be the leader within AI. Is thanks to all the data collection. That's the same for the enterprise businesses having their own data, also looking at private or local LLMs, large language models. So the data is very important. The trend, which I didn't mention, but which is quite obvious by what US and China is doing, is Europe trying to create their own big tech, or at least getting their data in Europe. So possibly for us with document management and QMS is to build our solution not only upon Microsoft, but also upon, there's Docs, which is open source document management. So European enterprise companies are looking at some of their document management and having it closer to Europe than being reliant on Microsoft, Google, and the large American big techs, because there's lots of end user data of the usage of Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace, which actually stays in the American companies, and they can continue building their own products much better than ours and train their AI.
So isn't it so that the result depends a lot on which data mine you are using?
Correct. And in some industries like DevTech, for us, we will have small language models instead. So basically training them on the correct data instead of training them off all the internet's data and having people cleaning the data. So that's correct.
I am a system developer, and I've been working with IT few years ago. And I was during the time when IT revolution came up in early 20s, when we've been talking about the paper-free offices and everything like that. And right now we are not there yet. We still have some kind of paperwork still, because we cannot rely on our computer systems. The way you put the subject is that a lot of people can feel ill, because what I'm going to do if IE will replace me. And I've been a part of the business forum ORE a few weeks ago, and then there we've been discussed a lot about IE and its role in the new business and new business revolution together with IE. And I would like to switch the question, not if it's going to excel over human innovation. I would like to put this way: how human can use IE to develop the innovation and create more and new possibility of doing business, living, and whatsoever. Because, I mean, we as human, we're going to be still here. IE is not reliable 100% yet, and probably it's not going to be in the near future, because IE is the starting of developing IE is in the 80s. So okay, it can be a tool, but I'm not see it as a replacement.
I think that's a great discussion for the networking. So just as a quick answer is, I agree. There is a larger need actually for developers for the next 10 years. What I'm afraid of is that we will have economic downturns followed by war. That will be an excuse for large layoffs within the businesses because of AI innovations. That's my tinfoil hat scare. But that's an unfortunate possibility. So I don't think people will be developers will lose their job. I think there's larger trends like call centers in Poland and so forth. So large human masses being employed. Developers are still needed, will be needed for at least 10 years. So let's continue the different discussions or topics during the networking, because we have our next presenter, I think.
Thank you for that. Very optimistic ending. Thank you so much. That's how you know you're working. That's how you're a true Pole. You have you see the dark cloud with the silver lining. Yes. Next up, we have Miłosz Sokół and Sonia Kondratowicz from Medicover. Welcome.
Okay, hello everybody. We feel really privileged to be here and to to share with you our case study of marketplace, which is called Medistore, which is a unique solution on the Polish market, because this is the only health-related and healthy lifestyle-related marketplace on the Polish market. So, Miłosz Sokół, Digital and E-commerce Solution Director, and myself, I'm responsible for the digital business development. So actually we're like the technology and the business. So that's why we want to take you through the story. But to start, I would like to refer to what Mats has said, because our solution definitely had all what we needed to innovate, because we asked a lot of why. We tested, and our parents, so the board, supported us with everything they could. So this is a bit of the story. Our DNA. So we as Medicover are currently present on the market for 30 years. This year is our 30th anniversary. And we have a really wide range of services, from healthcare, diagnostic, but also sport and a lot of lifestyle. We're present in 20 countries, and we're the biggest private healthcare employer in Eastern Europe. 30th anniversary, but also we look into the future. So our motto is to shape a healthier tomorrow. 47,000 people working in Medicover, 90 nationalities. 71% of the staff are women. And actually every 2 seconds we provide a medical visit, and each second we provide 4 lab tests. So we save lives, maintain lives, and we care for the health of our customers. These are the markets we're present in. We're listed on the Nasdaq Stockholm. And actually we're innovators. The innovation is in our DNA from the very beginning. Here you can see the story of how we innovated. So from the beginning, from the online visits, electronic medical records, first mobile app on the Polish market to book the visits, then telemedicine, and then e-commerce platform, and so on and so forth. So we will now take you through the journey of Medistore.
Yes, thank you. So it's time to jump to the technical part, but I will go back to the 2014. When I was young business analyst in Medicover, I heard a lot of questions. Do we really need online sales for medical services, for diagnostic services? 1 year after, someone said, 1 year later, someone said, okay, it's maybe it's time. So I think one year later, we built first really basic e-commerce platform on Polish market, available only in Polish market. And that was really simple checkout mechanism for selling simple products. And after that, we received a lot of questions, why? And we built some custom features on top of that. And next year we built more heavy custom features. And someone said one day, maybe we should integrate it with medical system. Not one, but many medical systems. And even then, our system was not ready for that kind of integrations. Someone mentioned that word before us about legacy. We had, even with that approach, we had a lot of legacy code and applications to rewrite. But then happened something what changed our world, and COVID came, and we defined that we cannot survive without online sales, because lockdown, because completely different expectations from our patients, customers. They expect from us as a basic channel, online channel. So we had to adapt really fast to the reality. And board members, after more whys, said that we need store for each our brand. We have, we have a lot of brands, and the question was how fast we can build e-commerce platform for each brand, and additionally how fast we can integrate e-commerce platform with booking system, with diagnostic BDP, blood drawing point systems, etc. So that was really fast-changing world, especially that was lockdown. And additionally, someone after more why said that, okay, maybe we should sell services not only from our companies, and we should build marketplace. And that was COVID plus that idea was completely game changer for me as a person who was responsible for technology stuff and environment and infrastructure. And I will start that new world from the chart. That is the sales chart after all adaptation, the e-commerce infrastructure to the reality, to the new reality. And we stop for a moment here in 2022, and we stop to define our needs. So we define our clear list of our needs. First, I think need was fast scaling infrastructure and application. Everything should be automatized, do not have any manual processes. Performance and 2 R's important for our infrastructure, but still we should stay secure. So and because we are the owner and we are the administrator of medical data. So in that fast-growing environment, we should stay secure for our patients, for our companies and partners. But last point, but not least, we should be ready to integrate our platform with any medical system. It means we should be ready to integrate Medistore with medical system of our even competitor to help them, start selling in the new channel on Medistore. And knowing that, we defined our list of challenges. And the first challenge was that whole application was huge monolith. So it means that everything front end of the store, back end of the store was one application, not so ready to fast development of new features. We developed past years a lot of custom features, and we made a lot of legacy code because new ideas are coming every day. So the legacy is natural thing, nothing bad, but you have to know just what the legacy is. Without internal knowledge about e-commerce, with small vendor log, we defined a plan, and in the result of that, we built composable commerce infrastructure as a response for that. And first, most important part of that infrastructure was white label systems. So we built one common code base for e-commerce platform, for backend, for transaction, for whole path of delivery of medical services and booking. And based on that one code-based platform, we built many front-end stores for each our brand. And now we are ready to develop a new store integrated with your medical system in 3 weeks. Because we have, let's say, ready-made framework for that, and we are ready for new integrations. Second thing, as a result of collecting a lot of product services on one platform, we decided to launch marketplace, and we tell our other vendors, you can join us, we can build the biggest medical marketplace, not only for visit, but for complex diagnostic, for sport, for well-being, etc. And Medistore is master store of that. So it is combining all features of a single one white label store. We are selling in model of multi-basket, so it means that paying once you can buy from many vendors, from many clinics, as many services as you want. We deploy some additional features like invoicing system and dynamic checkout form, which dynamic checkout form means that we are fitting list of fields needs to deliver service to the basket. No, this is not the static form which you know from retail stores where you have name, surname, delivery address, etc. So that's the next point. And third important thing in our infrastructure is product management system. Critical for us because it's not easy to manage services. There is no one standard for each organization. So we decide to build three-level structure, global products from vendor to categorize it. And right now we have 1.2 million variants of products on our platform, and that's a lot to keep properly describe and manage. And last point, I think important for our vendors, especially external vendors, is complex administration panel called Medistore Plus. It is central hub for all medical systems. Our vendors can manage orders, deliver orders from the panel. We have settlements between us and a vendor, and we have alerting system if something is not delivered on time, or we have any issues with the integration, to not have a patient in the medical center without service. So that's the main list of components. And in results, we have that kind of picture where we have on the left-hand side Medistore Marketplace, white labels. There we have I think right now 8 or 10 white label stores. But as I mentioned, we can deliver every 3 weeks new platform connected to the Medistore. And on the right-hand side, order management system, and most important part, integration hub, ready to integrate any system. Sonia.
Yeah, so a lot of technology, but as you can see from the need and from a lot of whys, we came to a very complex solution, which is very unique on the Polish market, and we're developing it further and actually shaping the future. Where are we today? So we have the unique marketplace full of health. As you can see, this is the place with the unique shopping, as a unique shopping platform. Everything around health, genetic testing, vitamins, supplements, also sport, gym, because we believe as Medicover that the prevention and healthy lifestyle builds our health. So this is very important in our mission and vision. And also we create the community of people who are interested in a healthy lifestyle with the unique MediClub loyalty program, to which members can register and can then have the access to the special benefits around health. We are able to integrate people around healthy lifestyle. So as you can see, around 1 million sessions monthly. Our database of MediClub members is more than 700,000. And we are progressing 39 external, I mean, with our also companies, but 39 partners already available via Medistore. A very wide database of products. So as I mentioned, doctor consultations, screenings, lab tests, physical products like supplements or the test which you can have at your home done by yourself, but also fitness and diagnostic. And that's it. So we invite all of you, whenever you're in Poland or returning to Poland, to visit Medistore, to register to MediClub and use it just for your health. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I can actually, besides just the Medistore, like, I don't know if you've been to Medicover, they have the hospital in Wilanów in Warsaw. First class. I mean, I had the tour when they first opened, and it's like in the kids section, the reception is angled so that when the kids walk up, like the adults are lower, so they're at eye level with the kids. I mean, that's, yes. Yeah. So wonderful place. Next up, we have from Software Mind, Daniel Pisarek and Kasper Kalfas. Welcome.
1 second. Hi, I'm Kasper, and today I will tell you a really exciting story about salmon farming company. They went from just farming fish to leading real data revolution in their industry. So please listen me carefully, because in the end, we will have a question for you. So let's swim with data together. Before we jump into innovation and all stuff about our client, let me introduce ourselves. Here with me is my handsome and amazing colleague, Daniel, who blends AI with cloud solution.
Thank you, Kasper. Here is Kasper is a cloud architect at SoftwareMind who truly knows how to turn raw data into cloud business solutions. So, few words about SoftwareMind, who we are. SoftwareMind is a global technology partner. As you can see, we operate across numerous countries, and our expertise is cloud architecture, data engineering, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and also software development, all aimed at accelerating digital transformation for our clients.
So, let me introduce our client. Greek Seafood is a company with a long and proud tradition in aquaculture. They produce 100,000 tons of salmon annually. But what's special about Greek Seafood? It's their mindset, because they drive technology. They use technology to drive innovation, not just to survive, but to lead. Yes, before we jump into innovation, let me introduce you life cycle of salmon. It starts from the tiny egg incubated into fresh water. Then, young salmon rise in land-based facilities until they reach sustainable size. Next stage is marine farming, where they swim in the cages on the ocean. When they have a proper size, from 5 to 6 kilograms, it's time for harvesting. After harvesting, they are processed, packed, and delivered to the market. The important thing, we are trying to collect more and more data at each stage, and that data opens the door to innovation. At first glance, you can see salmon farm looks simply, just a few cages peacefully floating on the sea, surrounded by the nature, but inside thousands of sensors collecting data like water temperature, oxygen level, fish move, and even capturing photos.
So, when we began our journey with Greek Seafood, the traditional salmon farming company that wants to be innovative, we found key challenges that we met together with them. Firstly, they had already invested in electronic sensors like IoT devices that collecting data directly from the farms. Secondly, there was this valuable data was stored in the multiple databases across two regions, Norway and also Canada. That was also the problem. This data wasn't integrated together, so we had two different places that this data was stored. This data, as a result, they couldn't talk to each other. So that was one of the points that it's also important during this journey with Greek Seafood. And also, we don't have any centralized data platform. So that's one of the also point that we had to manage. And this data collection created bottlenecks that slowed down our analysis and also decision-making processes during in the Greek Seafood, our client. So to address these challenges that I described before, we had a few different data sources. We wanted to make these data sources together and analyze in the proper way to get really key insights. So firstly, what was our data sources? It was bioscope, images and videos. By bioscope, I mean water drones that are taking the data. Also sensors from salmon cages, as well as PDF files with biology articles, and also information from internal servers on production and health, as well as external servers, environment and ocean data. So then we send all this data to our cloud data processing solution that enables security, scalability, also enable real-time and historical analytics. What's more, we had cost-effective cloud storage to taking this data together and storing it for some transformation, and also having everything together, we had data visualizations capabilities that turn complex data sets into actionable insights.
So we know that we have cloud and data foundation in place, and now the new ideas were born. So we would like to explain you, me and Kasper, what the ideas we implemented and how we do it, and what was the challenges and how we solve it. So Kasper, please continue.
Yes, this is my first idea. So for a long time, farmers couldn't predict problems like sea lice, jellyfish, or plankton bloom. Fish suddenly get sick or even die, and action came too late. For example, sea lice cause stress and open wounds, jellyfish stings damage gills, and sea plankton reduce oxygen. But with data, everything changed. By monitoring temperature and ocean currents, we can spread more fish cleaner or put cages deeper into cooler layer of waters. When the jellyfish alarm is high, we can install special protective net before they arrive, and by monitoring oxygen level and plankton level, we can act really quickly and improve oxygenation. So we went from just reacting to preventing, all thanks data.
So what's next? Next challenge was that after systematizing and organizing our data, we faced the challenge of making it accessible and actionable for our farmers, on the ground, of course. And what was the solution? Our solution was to develop the Salmopedia, a specialized AI agent. By Salmopedia, you can think about like having ChatGPT for salmon farmers, as a friend, yeah, they are just asking and they had answers. And Salmopedia analyzes farming data, scientific articles, and biological reports. Everything is internal for Greek seafood. It's not like we are giving the outside knowledge. We are giving the internal documents, and we analyze it, and Salmopedia is answering using these internal documents. Benefits are clear. Simplified access to specialized knowledge. Next, proactive data gathering through intelligent follow-up questions from the agent, and also enhanced decision-making through contextual knowledge sharing. From the farmer's point of view, it's like having experienced data scientists and biologists constantly available by your side. So, for example, a salmon farmer can ask right now, what is the strategy of feeding if the oxygen levels will dip this week, and get the instant recommendation from Salmopedia. So that's the idea and how it looks like right now. Next one, Kasper.
And salmon harvesting is the most crucial moment in the whole process. When we do it right, we can keep them healthy, reduce the stress, and harvest them in perfect weight, from 5 to 6 kilograms. Thanks to so in the past, farmers used to rely on intuition to decide right harvest time. But now, thanks to our digital platform, everything changed, because they can harvest at the perfect moment, not too early, not too late, just in time, to guarantee the best product quality for customers and the market. So we right now achieve more smarter and sustainable business.
Yeah, so what we have really achieved here together with Greek Seafood. Firstly, it was global knowledge integration. So we effectively eliminated information silos between Norwegian and Canadian operations. This directly led to enhanced operational excellence. So improved farm productivity through shared best practices. Also reduced production risk with cross-regional insights from Norway and Canada, of course. And optimize harvesting decision with predictive intelligence. This was like a true business transformation, I would say. Increase innovation with AI-powered decision-making support, like Salmopedia as example from our implementation, and also streamlined operations through centralized knowledge management. Future innovations, Kasper.
Yes, and in Greek Seafood, innovation doesn't stop. We want to go a few steps ahead, using data even smarter way. So first, we would like to track an ancestry of each salmon. By using graph databases, we can see full salmon tree. It helps us to grow them healthier and stronger. Secondly, food quality really matters. By monitoring how fish eat and what is inside feed, we can grow them healthier and improve their diet step by step. So, we would like to achieve better data because this means better decisions, and better decisions means healthier fish.
So, as a conclusion, we would like to leave you with a few questions as a reflecting our journey with our client. First question is, think about what is hidden in your isolated data. So, by it, I mean, if you have few different sources or few different regions with your data, we would like to have probably one unified data platform that can gathering this data, and having this data in one place, we can just making the transformation on one place, the data platform, and then make some insights or new benefits that we can cover with our solution. So, ask yourself, is your digital foundation limiting your future? By it, I mean, maybe it just think about connecting cloud data as a platform to creating some architecture solutions, and by the cloud, I mean, it's from our experience, it's not just infrastructure, it's a foundation for secure and scalable solutions. So it's the place that from different regions we can go in and create some insights or create some solutions that can analyze this data. So that's one of the questions. And the next one is, are you seeing patterns of just collecting data? Right now, from our experience also, a lot of clients are just collecting data. They are having some tables, there is some rows, and that's it. But what is about to find the quality of this data or transform this data to have some really the platform that can give us the information about maybe future aspects, or having some analysis from the past perspective and have some data answers for it. So we are not wanted to collecting only numbers. We wanted to have analysis of this data and have the real benefits of it. So, I'm not show the key insights. So it's strategic data processing. It's really important right now. Next question: what becomes possible when AI amplifies both team knowledge and business processes? So, in case of AI, I would say that it's nice to implement AI. From the before presentation, some of you was saying that we have to experiment. So yeah, with AI we have to experiment. We wanted to understand how we can implement our AI solution, but not maybe at the first on production, but maybe on the test environment. Then we see the results, and after results make some iterations and implement for the production, but with some changes that we would like to make the benefits from it. So use AI, play with AI, try, make some POC, and then MVP and the production implementation. That's also one of the points that I wanted to share. What would you do differently if you could see the future? So having good transformation of your data give you possibility to understand what can be, for example, in the next year, or what will be the salmon strategy for next year or 2 years ahead. Yeah, so that will give you the future boost, future information boost that you can make decision, helping with decision making. So yeah, predictive business model is, so combining diverse data sources enables forecasting that transforms strategic planning and business also. If you have any questions for it, this is our LinkedIn profiles. You can reach to us. We are open to having some discussion. That's really interesting topic. We have around 12 minutes, so we have to, showing the most important things of our journey and experience. So feel free. Of course, we have here in Sweden, in Stockholm, the office, so you can also meet face-to-face with us or our colleague Jacob. Also, Epicenter, that's right, yeah. And last question that Kasper said on the first slide. What were the salmon doing before we implemented data algorithms? Anyone knows? They were just swimming in data. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Always interesting. Okay, next up we have Lech Kaniuk. Welcome.
So, hello everyone. My name is Lech, and I will share with you some learnings with commercializing innovations and being part of disrupting a couple of industries. So, just to give you a little bit of my background, so I sold my first innovation at the age of 18. I have done a spin-off from the University of Technology in Luleå. I was the youngest innovation consultant at Almi. I've done a TV show about innovations. I had my own radio show about commercializing innovations, Innovationsrådet i P4. And I've written books and so on. But first and foremost, I would say I am an entrepreneur, and I've done a couple of ventures. And I wanted to share a few things. Before I go into the learnings, I'll show you a few projects. So you might know Online Pizza if you're in Sweden, or Pizza Portal in Poland, today Foodora and Glovo. So I was responsible for moving to Poland and launching this. But before early stage, I was also part of bringing this technology into life. This became the transmission method to restaurants. In the beginning, the technology, when we were starting to digitalize restaurant menus, because back then there was no restaurant being online, the ideas and competitors around we saw in the world doing a similar technology. They were sending the orders to restaurant via fax machine. So that was the times we were doing. So this became actually a world standard, how you transmit orders to restaurants, and building up, so not only innovative in terms of digitalizing restaurant menus, but also this technology. Then I invested, and I was also CEO in iTaxi. I was also engaged in Taxiact in Sweden. So, and these were ride-hailing apps before Uber entered the market. So again, very early digitalizing taxi in that space before it became really kind of very, very common. And I was also actually, this is the first Tesla on taxi in Poland. So I was responsible for the electrification of taxis as well. My latest company called Sunroof. So instead of putting PV panels or solar panels on top of a roof, we show that you can actually build something that is very beautiful, aesthetical, but is both a roof and a PV installation at the same time. And you can actually not really see where is the solar and where it's not. So different cases with colors and other things. And today the company can deliver a solar roof actually cheaper than building first a roof and then building equivalent PV size on top of it. And we also started in Sweden, expanded to Poland and other countries. So a lot of these cases are from Sweden to Poland, or a little bit of a mix. And I've also launched ePark. I don't know if you've used it in Sweden or Poland. This is another example of an app paying for parking, was also responsible for this development of this app in Poland. So that's a little bit of background, and I wanted to share some details and some learning. So given the very, very short amount of time I had, I will try to go through kind of my top 10 list. So first thing with innovations, you have to have something that is solving a real problem. So you can't, if you just have something not novel, then it's an invention and not an innovation. You can't also start with the solution. You can't start with a medicine and then try to see what it treats. You have to start with a problem and with a disease, and then try to find something that people are ready to pay for actually getting it solved. So when we have that, then we need to start with a very small viable market. So with, for example, Online Pizza, we started with pizza. But then we started to add other cuisines. And at some point we had all type of restaurants. But then we started to expand into other markets. And today within Delivery Hero, Foodora and Glovo, you can basically get whatever you want delivered. So you start very, very small and then you expand from there. Then in terms of expansion and where you go, you should not go where the biggest market is. You should actually think about a strategic. So for many of these cases, Poland was actually a strategic first step into Europe for different reasons. And I think that is also very important in terms of kind of scaling into the next markets. Then we have something that is super important, and that's unit economics. So you have two metrics, and I would say that every business should monitor these two metrics. They are crucial for every business, where on the one hand side, you have customer lifetime value. So how much you make from the customer in a certain amount of period of time. And then on the flip side, you have the customer acquisition cost. So these two metrics are super important, and you should actually drive every decision to try to decrease customer acquisition cost and increase the customer lifetime value over time. A good metric I find is, or a good ratio, is a 3-to-1. I would say if you today have more than 3-to-1, I would say that you're probably underutilizing your growth. If you have worse, or even worse, that you have lower customer lifetime value than customer acquisition cost, then you're in trouble. I've seen many startups and innovative companies actually having that. And you need to make sure. And then when you expand with innovations and new products into new markets, you have to always know that the unit economics will be different for many, many, many reasons. And I think these two parameters are super important to really work deeply and monitor at all times for any kind of business. Your first hires when you expand, especially with innovations, but I would say in general, is something that is super important as well and can really make or break. So for example, in the Sunroof case, our first manager in Germany, we got to €1 million after the first year. But then after another year, we were still at €1.5 million, and we kind of got stuck there. So after changing and getting a new manager in Germany, actually a Swedish guy, we increased our sales from 1.5 to 6 million euro in just 1 year. So that shows how important it is with really these people. But when you are launching, especially innovative solutions into new markets, and especially if you are a big company, I still strongly believe that you have to have a local autonomy for the team that is actually executing this, and then global consistency at some point, and doing this transition after some time. And the reason is that you have so many different moving parts when you start something new in a new country, and there will be quite some differences, and you have to have a very agile team that is actually able to move and adjust quite quickly. And that's why giving the local team autonomy is very, very important. But then, of course, as you're building an international company, you need to have more consistency in that transition. So I waited a little bit too long with this in one company, and then it hurts quite a lot. But, well, I guess that's the learning. And localization goes beyond translation. So you can't just, if you've done something in Sweden, and then you can't just translate that to Polish and think that it will work in Poland. And it's not only language, and I would say that this is especially true if you're thinking about websites or marketing materials or marketing campaigns, especially these things where you have a very short maybe sometimes just one word or one sentence. You can't just translate that and think that will work in that country. But it goes also beyond, because you have a little bit of different culture sometimes in terms of purchasing, but you actually might sometimes have a completely different market or how you need to communicate to the market. So given, for example, the example with sunroof, in Sweden, we had 90% of our customers were renovating their roofs and putting a sunroof on top. In Poland, 90% of our customers were building their house, and it was a completely new build. So you can't communicate in the same way in your materials and other things. So that's very important to also remember. And when we're talking about innovations, we sometimes think that we have these other companies that are being our competitors. But I would say, or maybe I can ask a question and see. So I actually had exactly the same biggest competitor with online pizza, Pizza Portal, and iTaxi. Do you know who was the absolutely biggest competitor to both these businesses? And it was actually the same. Any idea? Uber. No, so in Poland, Uber was not existing when I started Pizza Portal. Uber was not in the market when I started iTaxi. We had a different competitor. Even if when Uber was in the market and deploying massive amount of money, Uber was still not the biggest competitor. It's not Google. So it was actually people just phoning, just calling. Old behaviors. That was our absolutely biggest competitor, because it was so easy for people to do like they did forever. They just picked up the phone and called the restaurant. I want a capricciosa, or call and I want a taxi to this address. And it's integrated in innovation that you're changing some behavior, because otherwise it's not innovative enough, right, to be called an innovation. And as soon as you're changing someone's behavior, you have quite a lot of work to do to onboard people, to teach them that this is a new, better method. And it's actually not enough. We've seen that so many times that even if they downloaded the app, they just forgot about what was the app called now. I don't know. Well, I just call again. So actually, people, just making a phone call was the absolute biggest competitor for many, 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 many years. Then. Okay, you want to give people autonomy and, be nimble and flexible and adjust and do different things. But at the same time, you have to document what actually works and what actually don't work. And with that, build a playbook. And it's good enough to have a playbook where you have like principles and more guidelines than very detailed processes. Like this is exactly how you do. The principles are good enough. But doing that is very important, because you don't want teams to run around and test different things and test what is already tested somewhere else that didn't work, or they just test random things, because you're having this team just creating a lot of chaos, right? If something works, you have to double down on that and continue to repeat. And that's why you need a playbook, because that's when you start to scale, and that's when you actually avoid creating a lot of chaos and a lot of, I would say, waste of energy and resources in doing that. And last and not least, social proof and reference cases are super important. And again, the interesting thing is that the big market where you have absolutely the biggest amount of customers is when the majority of people wants to buy your product. And actually, the majority of people don't want to have something new and novel and innovative. They want something that is proven that it works. And this is why you have this bell curve. And in the beginning, you have the innovators. They will jump on anything that is just innovative, just to be first. Then you have early adopters. They're a little bit more cautious. It has to work. It can have bugs. It can be, so-so, but it's still very novel. They are kind of in the beginning, and they like that. And you have to start trying to find these people, acquire them, and then show all the rest that, hey, look, this is not new. So it's a kind of a paradox with selling innovations, that you have to show them that it's not innovative, it's not new. So with sunroof, for example, we were saying that solar panels have been on the market for decades. It's not new, but it's a better design. So with selling innovations, it's actually quite a lot of work to try to convince people it's actually not innovative, because then most people want to buy from you. So thank you a lot. I hope this was, it's a lot of different things, and I'm happy to take questions if we have time. Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we have our panel. 7 to 8 minutes, synchronized watches. I expect you all here sitting down in 7 to 8 minutes. So, hi everyone, I'm Angelo Porcello, back again. Yes, I'm doing the panel, I'm running the panel today. Our panel discussion today is it possible to create the right environment for innovation? Or is it really a matter of finding the right talent? So this is a very practical concern that we all face in our organizations, and we're up here, we're going to talk about it. So, what I'm going to ask the panel to do is first, just briefly introduce themselves. We're going to go from right to left. Wait a minute, my right to left, yes. In case you're wondering, that'll be your left to right. Introducing ourselves very briefly so we know who's up here on the panel. And then I'm going to give a definition of innovation, and then we're going to take a vote. And then maybe we'll start an argument. We'll see. All right, so my name is Angelo Porcello, as you know. I'm the CEO and owner of Directio. We're an IT services company based in Warsaw. We have offices around the world, including in Manila, Mexico City, and Chicago in the United States. I'm American, as you can tell by my voice. Well, a few people said. I don't usually say that into a microphone recently. I don't know if you know why that might be. But anyway, I do live in Warsaw. I've lived there for 30 years, and I'm a member of the SPCC. Okay, so now I will pass the microphone to my right, and please just start with introducing yourself briefly and your organization.
Hello, everyone here. My name is Patrik Isestad. I'm from Nynäshamn. The connection with Poland is Nynäshamn and Gdansk. And I'm a local politician in Nynäshamn from the Social Democratic Party. And we are here for find cooperation between Nynäshamn and Poland.
Thank you very much, Angelo, and thank everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Serkan Köse, and I am a member of the Swedish Parliament, MP, and for the Social Democratic Party. I'm also from Nynäshamn. It's why I'm here. So it was a very interesting afternoon to listen to everybody. But also how we can strengthen our connections between Poland and Sweden, between Gdansk and Nynäshamn. We have a ferry connection today, but we are looking forward to strengthen these connections between our people, our countries, our cities. So I'm looking forward to discussions, but also for the cooperations between the commerce and us. So, Angelo, thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Gunnar Rytteling. I'm the CEO and founder of Leslie Technologies, which is a fintech company helping SMEs in Sweden to do business abroad by helping them with payments, cash management, and especially saving them on financial fees, financial administration, and so on. Before I started Leslie, I worked at Nordea in Nordea Markets for 10 years. So I was a banker before I started this journey, and I've been driving Leslie for approximately 5 years now. And I'm a Swedish resident living in Stockholm.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jerzy Tikkanen, and I'm the HR director at Magnusson Law. We're an international business law firm we have offices in the Nordic-Baltic region, and we provide legal service to our clients who are local entrepreneurs and multinational corporations. And I was here today because we have one of our partners that usually attend these events, and she is one of the IP Tech partners. I have extensive experience from Sweden and from the US. I did my schooling in the US and spent 15 years working in the medical industry there. I have extensive experience in leading change processes and find that very interesting. And I find the topic today very interesting.
Hi, my name is Bernard Golko. I'm coming from Poland, from Warsaw. I'm the CEO of QVT, formerly known as Neuro Device. We are producer of neurorehabilitation transcranial current stimulation tools. So, moreover, I'm coming from banking business as well, like my colleague here. After 13 years working for HSBC, Citibank, and Crédit Agricole, I decided to move on to more agile career. Started working with startups. Now I'm navigating one. And last but not least, I'm a lecturer on Polish-Japanese Institute of Technology. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rasmus Truedsson. I am an actor and a journalist. I've been working 40 years within the film industry. But I'm mostly here because I am working also part-time as an ambassador and senior advisor to an organization called Mercy Ships. We have helped people with free surgical help since 1978, and we have helped around 3 million people out of charge, and we are connecting with the civil society in a very special way. But I will tell you about that later.
Great, super excited to be part of this hot society, you know. And my name is Mikael Wallstedt. I usually work with tech companies, helping them to find more leads, closing more deals through coaching and consulting.
Again, pleasure to be here. I am a member of Polish Parliament. I'm the deputy of Polish-Swedish parliamentary group as well. I work both in Foreign Affairs and Digitalization Committee in Polish Parliament.
Okay, so good. So we did have a panelist who unfortunately couldn't be here today. She was a professor of innovation, and she was going to do what I'm going to do, which is she was going to first define innovation for us. So I used ChatGPT. No, I looked it up. This is the definition by McKinsey. Okay, all right. But they say innovation is the ability to conceive, develop, deliver, and scale new products, services, processes, and business models for customers. That's McKinsey's definition. So the question today we're to address is it possible to create the right environment for innovation, or is it really just a question of hiring the right people? And so this is the classic nature versus nurture question. And so I thought I would start with this panel by asking everyone on the panel if you could raise your hand if you agree with the statement, is it really more just a question of hiring the right people? Who agrees with that statement? And who thinks it's more important to create the right environment for innovation? All right. Wait a minute. You raised your hand both times. Okay. All right. This is very Swedish. Please explain yourself.
My experience is that you cannot have one without the other. You need both. Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, sure. Of course, you always need both. Yes. Yeah. Okay, we all agree with this statement. Yes, okay. But is it more one or the other? Now, I would just say, as somebody anybody here who's a parent, when you have a child, you realize how much of your personality is buried, comes from within the kid. Like you are just sculpting around this strong personality that is inside the child. And so I used to think it was more nurture than nature, but after having kids, I had to change my mind. So I think it's more about hiring the right people. I think if you have an innovative culture, but you just have a random subset of people, I just don't think you're going to be an innovative organization, period. I think that some people are more innovative, and that's their personality type, and that they're going to be the people who move those things forward. Of course, a supportive environment is important, but I don't think it's more important than hiring people. So everyone else disagreed with me. Who would like to comment on that?
I think.
Okay.
Yes. I think there's one thing that you do need. I think you need attitude. I think you need to dare to try new things. You need to be able to do new things. But apart from that, I think you can learn whatever you want to do and learn whatever you want to accomplished, really.
So you think in the right environment, an ordinary person becomes innovative? Okay, oh boy, here we go. Yes.
If I may, I would like to change this a little bit as well, because frankly, I believe that this is not only connection about two, but also the environment the company is built in. Because at the end of the day, you can have innovator, but if you do not have the proper environment around him, if you do not have possibility to let him, for example, to make mistakes, like intelligent failures, it means basically that at the end of the day, you have like a break. And that's it. So I believe that leadership role is far beyond just hiring proper person after person after person. It's about understanding the whole matrix of these people and the surrounding environment.
I absolutely agree with you because you have to have a forgiving environment. You have to have the right culture, support, network. Because innovation, you have to be willing to take risks. And you have to be willing to fail, and you have to have a forgiving culture. So with the right support, anybody can be innovative. That's my standpoint.
Wait, I was just going to say, Rasmus, you're an artist.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mostly people expect from me that I would say, you have to have free environment and a lot of applause to go forward with innovations. And I'm going to say the opposite. For me, it's discipline. It's really discipline. You can't work as an artist or a writer if you're not extremely disciplined. And as an actor in the movie industry, the discipline is more or less like the military. If I just arrive to my job and are 5 minutes late, I promise you, the people will say to you, my bosses will say, you do that once again and you will have to leave the set. And I think that is extremely important, even when it comes to masterships. That is a very disciplined area, and we are very innovative.
Yes, okay, but see, I would say you couldn't take 10 random people and turn them into actors. Yes, you have a talent. Of course, you have to be disciplined. Of course, you have to be in a supportive environment to be an actor. But I think having this talent is something that's special and unique about you, and so you're able to succeed. I'm passing it over.
You know, if you look at Sweden, it's a very small country. We have 10 million people, but we are very innovative countries. If you compare Sweden to other countries, yeah, we are very succeed. Sometimes I say that it's feeling about how you create opportunity for the people. So Sweden is a country that if you give the right opportunity with support and you have a willingness, then many will succeed. You know, if you look at the soccer, I like football, I like soccer. I sometimes say that, yeah, you are a trainer for our kids, but if you give every player good chance to succeed, they will succeed. But if you condemn them, when a small say, you can't play football, you are not good, you are not enough, you will not succeed. So for my opinion, is that if you give the opportunity to everybody, if you create the conditions, if you have willingness, they will succeed. Yes, of course, not everybody will be Zlatan, but you create, you make that we have many Zlatan in Sweden. If you give everybody the chance to succeed, it's why we are, as 3 politicians here, our role is that to create the opportunity, the chance, and to make the chance for everybody to succeed. And then we have different levels. Someone will succeed with good, and someone will be in the middle, and other people maybe need more help to have, to be the best one. So from our perspective, from my perspective, I liked all the times the idea that you have to give people some equal rights to be succeed. Then you run, difficult. I'm not Usain Bolt, but I will run 100 meters.
Okay, good.
Yeah, can I?
Yes.
Sorry, that was one point. I will come back to it later on. No, but the other thing was that, and this about the environment, because you talk that you can't be an entrepreneur in a closed environment. And for example, my company couldn't have been founded without the regulatory enablement within the EU. We are using the PSD2 directive. So I can go around and be as innovative as I want, but if it's not enabled by, in this case, regulation, I couldn't do it. Yeah, I think that's why I believe in that. And the other thing about this working hard, yeah, I was going to come back to it. It's when you start a company, a lot of people have ideas. Like ideas, I think it's easy to come up with, but the big thing is to execute on the idea. And when you talk with investors and so on, they hear like tons of pitches every day, but they want to look at you. Can you execute on this? An execution, an idea, and go back to the thing with like putting in time and discipline. Execution requires time. But you can't do that idea unless it's enabled by, in my case, regulatory.
Something I'm thinking of is that if I look in my industry, who are the most talented people, I dare to say that it is not the most talented people. A lot of my friends, they are excellent when it comes to talent, but they are lazy. I'm totally honest. That's what it is about. Like take, for instance, a person like a close friend of mine, Thomas Alfredsson. He has always been working 12 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours per day. Maybe he's extremely talented, but I think he would have done the same journey without that amount of talent that he is holding. So I am not a fan of talent in that way.
But see, I think of discipline as being part of talent. Yeah. Yes.
Could I just pick up on that as well? Because it's a little bit of a joke here, but quite often people ask me, what are you going to do for the weekend? And then I ask them, okay, so do you know what's the difference between, God and an entrepreneur? Well, God don't work on Sundays, but I do as an entrepreneur, and that's what you have to do if you're going to be successful. It's not a walk in the park, So you need to have some discipline, as you said, and really do the hard work to succeed.
So what about in the Polish parliament? Is it full of talented people, or is it just they're hardworking?
Obviously, yes. Yes, that's right. I think that's the tricky question because everyone answered that you need both talent and environment. We are talking about hard work, but innovation is something else, I think, because hard work is not only about innovation. So to create any innovative solutions, you need to have a talent. That's the basic. And without talent, you will not create any innovation. However, to implement or scale some innovations, you need a proper environment. If we are talking about national level and cooperation between Poland and Sweden and through European Union countries, we have great examples of how environment can support innovations. However, we have opposite, how environment can stop some innovations. And we are talking about GDPR regulations, which will be reconsidered after 5 years of being came into force, and that's a great example of environment which is stopping some innovations in European Union. We are talking about the Ragis report. He pointed it out that it's over-regulation is an environment which stop innovation. So there are some examples of environment which supports and which do not support innovations in our economy.
Okay, before I ask for the Swedish Parliament's view, if it's full of talented people or if it's just the environment, I'm just going to make a little anecdote for that. So I have a company in the United States, and I sent my contract from Poland that I use in the European Union to my lawyers in the United States. I need something similar to this, please, like this. And it's more than twice as long. And I asked, wait a minute, I thought America is this pro-business place and everything else, and you give me a contract that's twice as long. Why? And it was explained to me that, in America, you have the freedom to do whatever you want. So we have to put it in the contract. Otherwise, it can be done to you or against you. Whereas in Europe, it's regulated. You don't even have to say it. It's already taken care of. Yes, it's in the code. So that was an eye-opening experience for me. So maybe you'd like to comment about the Swedish Parliament. Is it full of talented people, or are they just hardworking, or is it a good environment?
You know, I am from the opposition party, so.
This is broadcast live, so just.
No, we have a good dialogue in the Swedish Parliament. I would say that we have a huge respect for each other. We have 8 parties. We have different waves. We have a different ideology, and we are from everywhere in Sweden. But we have a huge respect for each other because we are thinking different. We have different solutions to the problems. But sometimes we are, working together. I am also a member of the Swedish IPU, Interparliamentarian Union, and we have 5 members in this group, and this is 4 parties from left to the right. So we are cooperating and working together and representing the Swedish Parliament in Europe, in the world. So sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's high tensions in politics, so it's normal. We are talking about unemployment, economic situation, migration, so on. So also about the trade relations. So sometimes it's good, sometimes, it's politics, From the local parliament to the national parliament, we have difficulties. So that's why we call it democracy. It's important to keep democracy.
Okay. Maybe we should start from a national level. If we talk about an innovative environment, it's a lot of companies, innovative companies, European companies, they go to the United States to that environment. It's a more conducive environment for innovation, it seems. Well, it's obvious by the results that we actually see. So what can we do in Europe, in Sweden, in Poland, to make the environment more open for innovation? You mentioned about GDPR. Down here. Is there anyone else who wants to comment on that? How we could make Europe a more competitive, innovative environment?
To understand the competition, first we need to understand how the startups are being funded. If you take a look at the United States and Western civilization in general, you will see that 70-80% of the money, the initial money, is the love money and bootstrapping. So money of the person who creates the startup. While in Central European countries, in Poland in particular, between 70 and 80% of the initial money is given by the government. If you consider that at the end of the day, the source of the money also is directed to particular direction, like for example medtechs, and then there is no funding for certification, which is needed for medical products, then you have tons of MVPs, and startups that are dead in the water. So I believe that the funding itself needs to be modified. If you take under consideration on top of this that startups that survive the founders usually are 45 years old, more or less, again, I can talk about Poland, about my social environment. I see that for those people, again, there is no love money because those people are still in the middle of rising child, etc. So they need to take those money from somewhere. And at the moment, due to the fact that most of the investment funds are pretty dry in Poland, it means that everything is more or less stopped. This is something that I would love to preach to our government, actually, to induce the productivity, induce the new startups by giving possibility to reach out not only for the money that are decided for them in which direction they should flow, but look more carefully on what kind of talents we have locally and invest into those particular talents.
I had no idea that was 70 to 80% of the investments was from the government. In Poland for startups?
Yes.
Not only. Oh, here we go.
The whole CE region.
Yeah, that's the problem of whole Europe, I think, and that we do not have enough capital, enough money to invest in this high-risk market. In US there is a private capital, in China there is a public capital, in the European Union we have lack of capital. We should create new funds at the EU level, I think. and create environment which will encourage some private investor to engage in that market, which is really poor here in Europe, not only in Poland, Sweden or France, but we should cooperate at this European Union level, and that's one of the part of our new strategic partnership signed last year between Sweden and Poland to cooperate on that field to create new solutions at EU level, because as you mentioned, we have no capital. That's the problem. Not only that it is public, but there is no money, not sufficient amount of money.
Can I mean, when I listen to you, I start to think of how we are working in my industry. And in my industry, it has always been, we always need money. But our investors, they're used to that the most ideas are bad. So we are going forward with a lot of manuscripts. We're going forward with a lot of projects, and we are closing them very, very often. But I can see my wife is an investor, and she is now a CEO of a science park, and for me it looks like it is important that you don't. If you start an idea, you can't suddenly say, well, let's this manuscript go into another story. Everybody understands that is crazy. But when I look at the inventing industry, it looks like you start here, the idea isn't that very good, so you start to shift idea, but still you're looking for money. And that is, for me, very, very strange.
One idea I would love to pitch is basically, instead of giving money by European Union, giving people possibility, for example, to pay less taxes and invest those money into their startups. Because at the end of the day, if you consider what Milton Friedman said basically about the how money are being spent in terms of the efficiency. If you spend somebody else's money on someone else, then you don't spend wisely. If you spend your own money, then you have the motivation.
Okay, I think would like to. Should we lower taxes in both countries? I don't know.
No, in Sweden we have also a lot of investigation against SME. We have Vinnova, Almi, so on. So I think it's important that state can also support the innovations, the companies, but also the private sector is also investing a lot in small business. So the the government, there's a huge budget for the small companies also in Sweden.
But also, I think I've lived 15 years in the US working for a medical company. But in Sweden, I also think, or Sweden in Europe, there are a lot more regulations than the US. There are a lot more, you get taxed, and you're sort of scared of taking the route to invest. I don't think that's conducive to the investment culture. So I think the people in charge have to change the tax system and some of the regulations. Then I think we'll be more innovative and creative.
That's good. Yeah, I was just going to say, Gunnar, you have a fintech company. What's your experience?
From sourcing money or of funding. Well, I think that now I have only the Swedish perspective on this, but we have mainly often had the possibility to source money. We have done it 4 or 5 times now, once every year. But you mentioned something with 45 years, and actually I spoke with one VC the other week, and she said that they primarily or mostly only take entrepreneurs that are 40 plus. Usually the idea is that you have you're recently graduated from university, you're 3 people coding something. And she said, no, that's not what because there's so much failure in that. You need a couple of years to become senior in whatever you do, and also to understand the market you're going to approach and the problems you have there. So the probability is higher when you're older or medium old, like I am now, 44.
There's hope for all of us. That's the message today.
And I think also another perspective that I had there, like I mentioned, like PSD2, which is this Payment Service Directive #2 in EU that opened up bank information. Open banking is a concept which actually helped startups to come out. Now I lost my thought there again.
You're a very hardworking person.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah. I was going to say something smart.
I'm sure you already did.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of raising money, so just another anecdote from Poland, a friend of mine with a very successful track record of opening restaurants and restaurant chains, he received an interest from a well-known brand in the West. He would have to open 4 restaurants in Poland, no big deal, and he needed to raise $2 million. And for me, I thought, well, it's in the bag. And he was looking for a year, and he couldn't raise this money. And I was, in the United States, you probably find like a group of 4 dentists who put in $2 million. I mean, I can't believe you can't find this. But, I didn't have $2 million in my pocket, so I couldn't help him out. But anyway, that's my anecdote of raising money in Poland. Let's pass it to our MP.
It's very interesting thing that you said that we can lower the taxes and everything will be fine. I mean, this environment is something else and more complex. We can compare our country and Swedish. I don't know how many startups exist in Sweden. In Poland startups connected with AI and new technologies in Poland is 2,500, 3,000. It depends on moment. In France is 25,000 startups, and they created their own ecosystem, French tech, and it gave us Mistral, so it gave us the first European ChatGPT, Le Chat, and that's the reason why they that's the cause. But it is the reason that Mistral succeeded is that they create their own environment, and they put public money on it as well. So, and in US, yes, there are less regulations. That's obvious. Especially we are talking about AI, and there was only executive order in 2023 signed by the Biden's administration is what's implemented, but it's going to be stopped right now. In China, we have this different attitude, but they created environment for innovations, especially if we are talking about implementation of innovations into the market. They are leaders around the world. And so from my point of view, to be complex, it's very, very important that we should create this environment, because we are talking about one example. We have also our Polish unicorn, which moved to US, unfortunately, and but that's an example. And okay, it's great that it has been created and it exists. However, if we want to have this repeatedly outcome, we need to have an environment. Environment, first of all, will create or can buy, or I don't know, be tempting for new talents from around the world, and that's the first thing. And so, to be strict to the point, the environment can be more important than talents, because the talents can go after the environment. So the environment can create talents and can buy talents as well. As the US, they buy talents around the world. So environment is very, very important thing, and this money, regulations, etc. So, and one last but not least important thing from the business point of view. So this precaution law. In China, they buy China's solutions. In US first. Trump put the pressure on this very much. And Europe, we should say Europe first. So if we have an Ericsson, which is a great company, it's a European company, we should support it. And they sell about 20% of their production in European Union countries. Maybe someone can say something else, but it's less than 50% of their production or salmon. So it's really sad. And in China or in US, if it comes to proper precaution law, they buy their own solutions.
Okay, so we're to go till 3:30. So I will, before I wrap it up, would you like to say something?
Just to answer my colleague about how many startups we have in Sweden now, 25,900 startups are now existing in Sweden.
Yeah, ask ChatGPT. Thank everybody, and thank you to my distinguished panel members. See, I finished with a laugh. That's good. We've got to get out of here now. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, and thank you to the panel members. Oh, and there's one more person who is to say something, isn't there?
This was a wonderful discussion. Thank you very much, all of you, for participating in it. And thank you to our audience. Thank you to you, Mats, the man behind the knobs, the technical guy, digital facilitator. I'm learning. I'm trying to remember it every time. I've been thanking for a while some people, but not all of them. So, you just...
I don't know who you have already thanked, so I will thank
start over again.
everyone for the great discussion in the panel, to all the speakers. I heard that you already thanked Mats Vara for the technical support today. Thank you very much. I think we should also thank Dana Rogoza for preparing the wonderful cake today. I don't know if you tried it. I think that we should also thank Jerry for once again a great preparation of this whole event. Thank you very much. That's it. Okay. That's it. Thank you very much. Please follow our all communication channels, LinkedIn, website, and we hope to see you next time during our event. And enjoy the networking session.